At my father's retirement dinner, he told me I wasn't his real child and asked me to leave. But when my husband took the mic, every secret my family hid for years came out. When my father lifted his glass at his retirement dinner, I thought he was finally going to say something kind. For once. The lights were warm, the music soft, and everyone, my siblings, their perfect spouses, their perfect kids, sat waiting for his speech. He smiled proudly and said, "My real children are the ones who made me proud." Everyone laughed and clapped. Then his eyes found me. The laughter stopped, and with a cold grin, he said, "You can leave now, Emma. You were never really mine anyway." The entire room froze. I felt the floor vanish beneath my feet. My mother lowered her eyes. My siblings exchanged smirks. For a few seconds, I couldn't breathe. But then, before I could even move, my husband Daniel stood up. He took my hand, kissed it gently, and whispered, "Don't cry. They have no idea what's coming." Then he turned to my father and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Actually, Mr. Williams, before we leave, I think it's time everyone heard the truth." You could hear a pin drop. My father's face turned pale. "Daniel, sit down. This isn't your place." "Oh, I think it is," Daniel said calmly. "Because you made it public, didn't you? You wanted an audience." He took out his phone and connected it to the projector, the same one they'd used earlier to show a slideshow of my father's career highlights. But what appeared next wasn't a slideshow. It was a video, a recording of my father and my mother from 30 years ago. The date was visible in the corner. And in that grainy footage, my mother could be heard crying, telling my father that she couldn't keep pretending, that she'd switched the babies in the hospital because the nurse had made a mistake, that I was their real daughter and the one he'd always favored, his golden son, wasn't. The room erupted. My siblings gasped. My mother covered her face with her hands and whispered, "Daniel, where did you get that?" He looked straight at her, from the nurse herself. "She passed away last month. But she left a confession letter and a copy of the old hospital file. Turns out, Emma was your biological daughter all along. The son you've been so proud of belongs to another family entirely." My father slammed his fist on the table. "This is nonsense. Lies." Daniel smiled faintly. "Then perhaps you'd like to see the DNA test results. I have them right here. Done privately, weeks ago. We wanted to be sure before saying anything." My father's hands trembled as Daniel slid the folder across the table. My so-called brother leaned over, snatched it, and started reading, his face drained of all color. "It's true," he whispered. "Dad, I'm not yours." My father couldn't speak. His mouth opened, but no words came out. That's when Daniel turned to the guests, all of my father's colleagues, his lifelong friends, and said, "So before anyone else raises a toast, maybe think twice about who really deserves it. Because the man you're celebrating spent his life humiliating the one person who actually carried his bloodline." The silence that followed was electric. My mother broke down in tears, my father's shoulders sagged. And I just stood there, not angry anymore, not even hurt, just free. Then Daniel held up his glass. "To Emma, the daughter who was never recognized but always right. The truth doesn't hide forever." A few people, surprisingly, joined in, and for the first time in my life I didn't feel small. As we walked out of that banquet hall, I could still hear whispers behind us. My father's legacy had shattered in one night, not by hate, not by vengeance, but by truth. Outside, the cold night air hit my face. I turned to Daniel and asked, "Did you plan all this?" He smiled. "No, but when he told you to leave, I decided it was time your family finally met the real Emma and the real truth." I laughed through tears. "You just destroyed his entire career." Daniel squeezed my hand. He destroyed himself the moment he forgot what being a father means. That night, I didn't lose a family. I just found out who I truly was and who really loved me.